She demanded, "Buy me this $5,000 luxury bag, or you're banned from my lavish birthday bash." Can you believe the audacity? Epic Reddit revenge story. Hi everyone, my name is Emily, and I'm 28 years old. I work as a graphic designer in a mid-sized city, scraping by on a decent but not extravagant salary. I've always prided myself on being the kind of person who values real connections over material things. Growing up in a modest family taught me that. But this story? It's about how one friendship pushed me to my absolute limit and led to what I can only describe as a nuclear-level revenge. Let me take you back to where it all started. Sarah and I met in college about 8 years ago. We were both freshmen, thrown together in the same dorm room by some random housing lottery. At first, she seemed like the perfect roommate, fun, outgoing, always up for late-night study sessions or impromptu pizza runs. She came from a wealthy family. Her dad was some big-shot executive in finance, and her mom was involved in high-society charity events. Sarah never had to worry about money. While I was juggling part-time jobs to pay for textbooks, she'd casually drop stories about family vacations to Europe or the latest designer clothes her parents shipped to her. I didn't mind at first. It was like living vicariously through her glamorous life. We bonded over shared classes, bad breakup stories, and dreams of post-grad adventures. By sophomore year, we were inseparable best friends, or so I thought. After graduation, we both ended up in the same city. I landed my design job, and Sarah, well, she didn't really need to work right away. Her parents set her up with a cushy apartment in a trendy neighborhood and a generous allowance that let her figure things out. She dabbled in influencer stuff, posting on Instagram about fashion hauls, brunches, and weekend getaways. I was happy for her, even if our lives were diverging. I'd visit her place for girls' nights, and she'd come to mine for low-key movie marathons. But over time, I started noticing the cracks in our friendship. Sarah had this subtle way of making everything about her. If I shared a work success, she'd one-up it with some lavish gift her parents gave her. If I complained about bills, she'd laugh it off and say, "Just ask your folks for help." As if everyone had that option. Still, I stuck around because, deep down, I remembered the girl from college who helped me through tough times. Like when my grandma passed away junior year, Sarah was there, organizing meals and just listening. Those moments made me overlook the growing entitlement. Fast forward to about a year ago, when things really started shifting. Sarah turned 27 and decided she wanted a milestone birthday party. Not just any party, a full-blown extravaganza at a rooftop venue downtown, complete with catered food, a DJ, and even a photo booth with custom props. She invited all our mutual friends, plus a bunch of her influencer acquaintances. I was excited. I even helped her plan some details, like designing digital invites for free because, hey, that's what friends do. But here's where the stakes come in. Sarah had been hinting for months about this Louis Vuitton bag she absolutely needed. It was one of those limited edition totes, priced at a whopping $5,000. She'd show me pictures on her phone, gushing about how it would complete her collection and make her look like a real style icon. I nodded along, but inside, I was baffled. That was more than my monthly rent times 2. I figured it was just talk, until she started dropping not-so-subtle hints that her friends should chip in for her birthday gifts. "You know, Em, if everyone contributed a little, I could finally get that bag," she'd say with a wink. I laughed it off, assuming she was joking. After all, we'd always kept gifts reasonable, think $50 to $100 max for birthdays. As her birthday approached, the pressure built. Our group chat buzzed with excitement about the party, but Sarah began weaving in complaints about how stressed she was planning it all. She'd post selfies with captions like, "Spoil me, darlings. Link in bio for my wish list." The wish list? It was basically that bag and a few other luxury items. I ignored it, planning to get her something thoughtful but affordable, like a personalized necklace from a local artisan. Little did I know, that wouldn't cut it for Sarah. The entitlement was about to explode into something that would shatter our friendship and force me to question everything I thought I knew about loyalty. Looking back, I see now how one-sided it had become. I was always the giver, the listener, the supporter, while Sarah took and took, wrapped in her bubble of privilege. But at the time, I was still holding on, hoping it was just a phase. That hope vanished when she cornered me one evening over coffee. "Em," she said, flipping her hair dramatically, "I need to talk to you about the party." Her tone was serious, like we were discussing a business deal. That's when the demand hit. the one that would change everything. She laid it out plain: if I didn't contribute to buying her that $5,000 bag, I wasn't welcome at her birthday. "It's my special day," she insisted, "and I only want people there who really care about making it perfect." I was stunned, sitting there with my lukewarm latte, feeling like I'd been slapped. Me, her supposed best friend of 8 years, banned over a bag? The hurt sank in deep, mixing with anger I'd been suppressing for too long. It wasn't just about the money, it was the audacity, the assumption that our friendship was transactional. The stakes were high, not just losing a party invite, but realizing I might lose a piece of my past if I didn't stand up. But stand up how? That's where the real story begins, the part where I decided enough was enough. As I walked home that night, replaying her words, a plan started forming in my mind. One that would expose her for who she really was and give her a taste of her own medicine. But first, let me tell you how the conflict escalated from there, building to a boiling point I never saw coming. That coffee shop confrontation hit me like a freight train, but it was just the spark. The real fire started burning in the days that followed, as Sarah's entitlement ramped up to levels I couldn't ignore. I left that meeting feeling a mix of shock and betrayal, my mind racing with questions. How had our friendship devolved into this? Was I really just a walking wallet to her? I didn't respond right away. I needed time to process. But Sarah? She didn't give me that luxury. The very next morning, my phone lit up with texts from her, as if nothing explosive had happened. "Hey just checking in. Did you think about the bag? Party's in 2 weeks, and I need to finalize the guest list." Face blowing a kiss, I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to fire back something snarky, but I held off. Instead, I replied neutrally, still thinking about it. "Money's tight right now." Her response came almost instantly: "Oh come on, it's not that much if we all split it. You're my bestie, you have to be there." Split it? She hadn't mentioned splitting before. Now it was we all, but I knew from the group chat that no one else was being pressured like this. Our mutual friends were chatting about outfits and ride shares, not extortionate gifts. As the week wore on, the hints turned into outright demands. Sarah started posting passive-aggressive stories on Instagram, close-ups of the bag with captions like, "Dreaming of this beauty for my birthday. True friends make dreams come true, nail polish #spoil me." She'd tag me in them, along with a few others, but I noticed I was the only one getting private DMs. Seriously, don't flake on me. This party is going to be epic, but only with my real squad. The unfairness gnawed at me. I'd been there for her through everything: her messy breakup last year, where I let her crash at my place for a week, the time she lost her job briefly before her parents bailed her out, and I helped rewrite her resume. And now, because I couldn't drop $1,000 or more on a handbag, I was demoted from bestie to outsider? The stress built like a pressure cooker. Work was hectic, I had deadlines piling up, and my boss was on my case about a big client project. Coming home exhausted, only to field more messages from Sarah, made my anxiety spike. She'd call late at night, her voice bubbly at first, then turning whiny when I hedged on the gift. "But think about it. You'll get to use it too when we go out. It's an investment in our friendship." Investment? The word made my blood boil. Friendship wasn't a stock portfolio. It was supposed to be mutual respect, not a transaction where she held the party invite hostage. Things escalated when she involved our friends. One evening, my phone buzzed with a call from our mutual buddy, Alex. "Hey what's up with you and Sarah? She said you're bailing on the party over some gift drama." I was floored. Sarah had twisted the story, making me sound like the cheapskate villain. "She told the group you're too busy or something, but I know that's not you." The emotional weight crushed me. I felt isolated, like she was poisoning the well. I explained the situation to Alex, who was sympathetic but admitted, "Yeah, she's been obsessed with that bag." We all thought it was a joke at first. It wasn't. And now, the unfairness spread. Why was I the target? Because I was the reliable one, the friend without a trust fund to fall back on? The rising tension peaked during a group hangout a few days later. Sarah organized a casual brunch at her place, supposedly to prep for the party. I showed up, hoping to smooth things over in person. But from the moment I walked in, the vibe was off. Sarah greeted everyone with hugs, but me? A cool nod and a pointed glance at my empty hands. As we sat around her marble kitchen island, munching on avocado toast she'd ordered in, she steered the conversation right to gifts. "So guys, who's in for the bag fund? It's only like $500 each if we split." The room went quiet. Our friend Mia shifted uncomfortably. That's a lot, Sarah. Maybe we can do something else." Sarah laughed it off, but her eyes locked on me. Well, some of us understand what real support looks like. The dig was clear, and it stung. I felt my face heat up, a mix of embarrassment and rage bubbling inside. By the end of that brunch, the stress had me on edge. Driving home, tears blurred my vision, not from sadness, but from pure frustration. How dare she manipulate our circle like this? The emotional toll was real, sleepless nights replaying her words, doubting my own worth as a friend. It was unfair on every level. She had everything, yet demanded more, while I scraped by and still gave freely. The antagonist in her was fully unleashed, escalating from hints to public shaming. Little did she know, this was fueling a fire in me. I wasn't going to just walk away. I was going to push back in a way that would make her regret ever treating friendship like a luxury auction. But before the plan solidified, things hit a breaking point that shattered any remaining illusions. The breaking point came crashing down like a tidal wave, sweeping away any remnants of doubt or denial I had left. It was about a week before Sarah's big birthday bash, and I'd been dodging her increasingly aggressive messages. I'd confided in a couple of close friends outside our shared circle, venting about the absurdity of it all, but I hadn't confronted her directly yet. Part of me still hoped she'd back off, realize how ridiculous she was being, and apologize. But Sarah wasn't one for self-reflection. She doubled down instead, turning what was already a simmering conflict into an outright explosion that left me shaking with fury. It started with an unexpected email, yes, an email, because apparently texts and calls weren't formal enough for her ultimatum. The subject line read, "Final guest list confirmation, important." I opened it at work, during a rare quiet moment between meetings, and my stomach dropped as I read her words. "Hey Em, hope you're doing well. Just wrapping up the RSVPs for my epic 27th. As we discussed, the bag is non-negotiable for my inner circle. I've set up a group fund link. Your share is $800 since not everyone's contributing equally. Click here to pay by Friday, or I'll have to remove you from the list. Don't want any awkwardness at the door. Love ya, Sarah, hugs and kisses." Attached was a screenshot of the bag, gleaming like some holy grail, and a PayPal link. $800? That was a lie. She'd inflated it from the split she mentioned before. And as we discussed, we hadn't agreed on anything. The emotional punch was visceral. My hands trembled as I gripped my phone, tears of rage welling up. This wasn't just entitlement, it was emotional blackmail, wrapped in emojis and fake affection. I felt violated, like our 8 years of friendship had been reduced to a dollar amount. The stakes hit home hard. Losing access to the party meant potentially losing our mutual friends, who might side with her polished narrative over my drama. But more than that, it was the betrayal. She'd weaponized celebration, turning joy into a commodity. I slammed my laptop shut, excusing myself to the bathroom where I let the sobs come. Not sad sobs, angry guttural ones that echoed off the tiles. How had I let it get this far? Why had I tolerated her growing selfishness? That afternoon, the fallout intensified. Sarah must have sensed my silence because she followed up with a voice message, her tone shifting from bubbly to accusatory. Seriously? I saw you read the email. What's the holdup? This is my birthday, my one day to feel special. If you're too broke or whatever, just say so, but don't ghost me. That's so immature." Immature? The irony burned. I played it on loop, each listen fueling the fire. Then came the group chat bombshell. She posted, "Party update, squad. Can't wait to see you all. Quick note, if anyone hasn't chipped in for the surprise gift, hit me up ASAP. No freeloaders allowed." Faced with tears of joy, she didn't name me, but the timing was obvious. Comments rolled in, some laughing emojis, others questioning, but Mia DM'd me privately, "Is this about you? This is getting weird." It was beyond weird, it was humiliating. By evening, I was a wreck. I paced my tiny apartment, heart pounding, replaying every slight she'd ever thrown my way. The time she forgot my birthday last year, sending a belated text with no gift. The weekends I'd spent helping her move or edit her influencer photos for free. The loans I'd spotted her for emergencies that were really just impulse buys. It all crystallized into one searing truth: I was done being her doormat. The emotional tension peaked when I finally called her back. "Sarah, this is insane," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "I can't afford $800, and even if I could, I wouldn't. Friendship isn't about buying your way in." Her response? A scoff that cut deep. "Oh please, Em. Grow up. Everyone else is fine with it. Why are you making this a thing? If you can't contribute, you can't come. Simple as that. I don't need negative energy on my day." Click. She hung up. That was it, the breaking point. The line crossed, the bridge burned. I sat on my couch, staring at the wall, feeling a raw exposed wound where our friendship used to be. But beneath the hurt, something shifted: resolve. No more playing nice. She'd pushed me too far, and now, the retaliation brewed. I wasn't going to slink away quietly. I was going to expose her greed to everyone, in a way that would make her perfect party implode. The plan formed in fragments that night, subtle, calculated, and utterly devastating. But first, the pain had to fuel it, turning my breaking point into a launchpad for justice. With the breaking point behind me, the fog of hurt cleared, replaced by a sharp, calculated clarity. I wasn't going to let Sarah's greed slide, not after years of unbalanced friendship. But revenge? It had to be smart, not impulsive. I wanted her to feel the sting of exposure, the embarrassment of her own words thrown back at her, without me looking like the villain. As I sat in my apartment that night, nursing a glass of cheap wine, the plan began to take shape. It was intricate, relying on subtlety, timing, and a bit of digital sleight of hand. The risk? If it backfired, I could alienate our entire friend group. But the potential payoff, watching her facade crumble at her own party, made my pulse race with anticipation. Would this work? I had to make sure every step was foolproof. First, I needed evidence. Sarah's demands were mostly verbal or in scattered messages, but I'd saved everything: the texts, the voice notes, the email with the PayPal link. I compiled them into a folder on my computer, screenshots timestamped and organized. But that wasn't enough. I had to amplify it. Remembering her Instagram obsession, I realized her stories and posts were goldmines of entitlement: those wishlist links, the passive-aggressive tags. I anonymously downloaded them using a throwaway account, careful not to leave traces. The plan's core: create a reveal that would hit during the party, exposing her to everyone without me being there in person. Direct confrontation was out, too messy. Instead, I'd use technology to my advantage, turning her social media empire against her. Step 1. Infiltrate the group subtly. I reached out to Mia and Alex individually, playing the hurt friend card without spilling the full plan. "Hey, I'm out of the party. Sarah's call," I texted Mia. "But can you keep me updated? Just curious how it goes." Mia, already uneasy about the gift drama, agreed. Alex did too, sending me the final invite details. They didn't know it yet, but they'd be my unwitting eyes and ears. With that access, I could time things perfectly. The suspense built as I tested the waters. Would they suspect? No, they seemed relieved someone else saw Sarah's behavior as off. Next, the technical setup. As a graphic designer, I had skills in editing and automation. I created a fake Instagram account, styled like one of those anonymous confession pages, at Party Truths Anon, or something innocuous. I'd post a story compilation, her demanding messages overlaid on images of the bag, with captions like "when friendship comes with a price tag." But wait, that was too direct. To build suspense, I'd schedule it to drop mid-party, but I needed a trigger. Enter automation tools. I used a free scheduler app linked to the account, setting posts to go live at 10 p.m., prime party time. The risk here was huge. If Instagram flagged it, or if Sarah spotted the account early, game over. I mitigated by making it private at first, inviting only our mutual friends via DMs from the Anon account, phrased as "heard about Sarah's party? You might want to see this." Curiosity would do the rest. But the plan needed layers for maximum impact. Step 3. The gift twist. Since I wasn't attending, I'd send something anyway, a symbolic jab. I ordered a cheap knockoff bag online, $20 tops, that looked vaguely like the Louis Vuitton but screamed fake. Attached a note, since real friends invest, here's my contribution. Happy birthday. I'd have it delivered to the venue during the event, via service that allowed anonymous sending. Imagine her opening it in front of everyone, the confusion, the forced smile turning to mortification. To ensure it landed, I coordinated with the venue's event planner, pretending to be a guest confirming details. Can gifts be dropped off? Yes, they could. The emotional hook, it would force her to confront the fakeness, mirroring how she treated our bond. Finally, the backup. If the digital reveal fizzled, I'd have Mia or Alex casually mention the demands in conversation, planting seeds of doubt. But I hoped it wouldn't come to that. As I refined the steps over the next few days, doubt crept in. Would this really work, or was I overcomplicating? The stakes were personal, losing friends, maybe even professional fallout if it went viral in our small creative circle. But each time I wavered, I'd replay her scoffing voice, "If you can't contribute, you can't come." That fueled me. By the eve of the party, everything was set, the Anon account primed, the fake bag en route, the timing synced. My heart pounded with a mix of nerves and excitement. Little did Sarah know, her perfect night was about to unravel in spectacular fashion. The plan was risky, but if it paid off, the satisfaction would be nuclear. The night of Sarah's party arrived like a storm I'd orchestrated from afar. I wasn't there physically, banned by her own decree, but in spirit? I was everywhere, lurking in the digital shadows, ready to unleash the chaos. My heart hammered as I refreshed my Anon Instagram account on my laptop, the clock ticking toward 10 p.m. The fake bag delivery was confirmed en route, scheduled to arrive midway through the festivities. Mia and Alex, my inside allies, had promised sporadic updates via text. The suspense was electric. Would the plan unfold as envisioned, or would some glitch spare her the humiliation? As the minutes dragged, I paced my living room, replaying every setup step, the emotional high of impending justice mixing with a twinge of nerves. This was it, the main event, the revenge that would make her entitlement implode spectacularly. At 9:45 p.m., Mia's first text buzzed in, "Party's popping off. Rooftop looks amazing, string lights, open bar. Sarah's in a designer dress, holding court." I could picture it, her laughing with that fake sparkle, clinking glasses, oblivious. Then, at 10 sharp, I hit publish on the scheduler, just to ensure, though it was automated. The Anon account stories went live, a carousel of damning evidence. First slide, her email screenshot, the $800 demand bolded, overlaid on the Louis Vuitton bag image with text, "Friendship for sale? Only $5,000 to enter." Next, her voice message transcribed, "If you're too broke, just say so," with a sad emoji for ironic punch. Then her group chat post about no freeloaders, anonymized but recognizable. I invited our mutual friends to view, 24 of them, including influencers she courted. The hook, "Is this how birthdays work now? Spill the tea anonymously." It was designed to spread like wildfire, pinging notifications mid-toast. The reactions started trickling in almost immediately. Alex texted, "WTF? Just got a weird Insta DM. Looks like Sarah's messages. Is this real?" I played dumb, no idea but sounds shady. Meanwhile, the fake bag arrived. I'd timed it via the delivery app, right as dessert was served. The venue staff handed it to Sarah, wrapped in generic paper with no sender name. Mia live texted the moment, "She's opening gifts now. Yours just got here? Wait, it's a bag, oh god." I could imagine the scene, Sarah's excited squeal turning to confusion as she peeled back the wrapping. The knockoff was comically bad, crooked stitching, plastic leather, a logo that read Louis Vuitton. Her face, usually filtered to perfection, would crumple. The note inside, "Since real friends invest, here's my budget version. Hope it completes your collection. A former bestie." Chaos erupted. Sarah's shriek echoed in my mind as Mia described it. She read the note aloud by accident. Everyone's laughing awkwardly. Now she's red-faced, demanding who sent it. The group murmured, phones out, perfect timing for the Insta stories to hit. One by one, notifications lit up the rooftop. "Hey, this looks like your email," someone said, showing their screen. Sarah snatched a phone, her composure cracking. "What the hell? This is hacked or something." But the timestamps matched, the words undeniable. Influencers whispered, pulling away, Our friends exchanged glances. Alex chimed in, "Party's turning sour. People are leaving early, citing drama." Sarah's yelling at the DJ to play louder. The shock rippled. Confrontations flared as friends who'd felt pressured spoke up. "Wait, you demanded money from all of us?" Mia asked outright, emboldened by the reveal. The high-impact payoff came when Sarah tried damage control. She stormed to a quiet corner, calling me. My phone rang, but I let it voicemail. "Emily, you bitch. I know this is you. How dare you ruin my night?" Her voice cracked, the entitlement shattered into desperation. But it was too late. The story went viral in our circle. Screenshots circulated, her influencer pals unfollowing en masse. One even posted, "Birthdays should be about love, not luxury extortion." #RealTalk. The rooftop, once buzzing with glamour, devolved into awkward exits and hushed judgments. Sarah ended up alone with half-eaten cake, the DJ packing up early. My revenge wasn't violent or illegal, just a mirror held up to her greed, reflecting back the ugliness she'd hidden behind smiles. As the texts flooded in from friends apologizing for not seeing it sooner, I felt a rush of vindication. The main event delivered, dramatic, satisfying, and utterly nuclear. But the fallout? That was just beginning. The aftermath of that fateful night unfolded like the slow unraveling of a poorly knit sweater. Thread by thread, Sarah's perfect world came apart, exposing the frayed edges she'd hidden for so long. I didn't sleep much after the party. My phone blew up with texts and calls, a digital echo of the chaos I'd set in motion. Mia was the first to reach out, around midnight. Holy crap. The party's a disaster. Sarah's freaking out, everyone saw those stories. People are bailing left and right. I feigned surprise, asking for details, but inside, a quiet satisfaction bloomed. The revenge had landed, but now came the consequences, the ripple effects that would redefine relationships and deliver a twisted sense of justice. By morning, the fallout was in full swing. Sarah's Instagram, usually a highlight reel of glamour, went radio silent, no stories, no posts. I'd checked the Anon account before deactivating it, covering my tracks, and the views had skyrocketed, over 50 from our circle alone, with shares branching out. Her influencer friends, the ones she'd courted for clout, started dropping like flies. One messaged me privately, "Girl, I had no idea she was like that. Unfollowed, thanks for the heads up." Sarah's follower count dipped noticeably, from 15K to under 14K overnight. For someone who built her identity on likes and sponsorships, that was a gut punch. She tried damage control with a vague post the next day. "Last night was wild, lessons learned. Grateful for true friends 2 hearts, but the comments were brutal. True friends don't charge entry," one read. "Hypocrite much," another. The irony was delicious. She demanded luxury, only to lose her virtual empire. On a personal level, the consequences hit Sarah hardest. Our mutual friends rallied around the truth. Alex called me the day after, apologetic. "We should have seen it sooner. She cornered a few of us about money too, but nothing like what she did to you." The group chat, once buzzing with party hype, turned into a confessional. Mia shared how Sarah had guilt-tripped her into a $200 contribution, and others admitted similar pressures. Sarah was booted from the chat by consensus. No dramatic exit, just a quiet removal that spoke volumes. She tried texting me a barrage of accusations. "You ruined everything. How could you? We were best friends." I didn't respond at first, letting her stew. When I finally did, it was simple. Friendship isn't for sale. Goodbye. Blocked. The closure felt like shedding dead weight. Professionally, the irony deepened. Sarah's influencer gigs dried up. Brands don't like associating with drama queens. I heard through the grapevine she had to get a real job, waitressing at an upscale cafe her parents pulled strings for. No more allowance-fueled hauls. She was facing the real world, bills and all. Meanwhile, my life? It blossomed. Freed from her shadow, I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. Mia, Alex, and I started a weekly hangout, no strings attached. Work picked up too. A promotion came my way, partly because I had more energy without the emotional drain. The fake bag? It became a running joke in our circle. Someone even spotted it in Sarah's trash bin pic on a mutual story. Symbolic, right? Her prized collection, tainted by a $20 reminder of her greed. But not everything was triumphant. There was fallout for me too, a twinge of guilt in quiet moments. Had I gone too far? Exposing her publicly could scar, and part of me wondered if a private confrontation would have sufficed. Yet, remembering her scoff, her demands, washed that away. Justice wasn't just about punishment, it was about balance. Sarah learned the hard way that relationships aren't transactions, and our friend saw the value in authenticity over flash. Months later, I ran into her at a coffee shop, awkward eye contact, her avoiding my gaze. She looked smaller, less polished, carrying a generic tote. No words exchanged, but the irony hung in the air. She'd lost the bag she craved, and so much more. The emotional closure settled in gradually, like healing a wound. I felt lighter, empowered, ready to build bonds on equal ground. The aftermath wasn't just destruction, it was reconstruction, for me at least. Sarah? She had her own path to figure out, one without extorting celebrations. Looking back on it all now, months after the dust settled, I can't help but feel a profound sense of growth amid the wreckage. What started as a simple birthday demand spiraled into a revelation about the true nature of relationships, entitlement, and self-respect. Sarah's ultimatum wasn't just about a $5,000 bag, it was a symptom of a deeper rot in our friendship, one where my value was measured in dollars rather than loyalty or shared history. I spent years excusing her behavior, chalking it up to her privileged upbringing or just how she is, but that night of revenge forced me to confront my own role in enabling it. Why had I stayed silent through the one-upmanship, the subtle digs, the constant taking? It was fear of losing a connection that, in hindsight, was more habit than heart. But pushing back, even in such a dramatic way, taught me that real bonds don't come with price tags or conditions. They thrive on mutual give and take, not one-sided demands. The emotional journey wasn't easy. In the immediate aftermath, I wrestled with waves of vindication mixed with regret. Had I become the monster by exposing her? Social media can be a double-edged sword, amplifying truths but also inviting judgment. Yet, as friends reached out with stories of their own encounters with entitled people, I realized this wasn't just my tale, it was universal. We've all known a Sarah, the colleague who expects favors without reciprocation, the family member who guilts you into gifts, the partner who measures love in material gestures. My story became a cautionary echo, reminding me, and hopefully others, that boundaries aren't selfish, they're essential. Setting them might burn bridges, but it clears space for healthier paths. I rebuilt my circle with people who celebrate modestly, who show up without strings, and that shift brought a piece I didn't know I was missing. There's irony in how it all played out, too. Sarah, obsessed with appearances, lost the very image she curated so carefully. Her party, meant to showcase her glamour, instead highlighted her flaws. And me? The broke friend she dismissed? I emerged stronger, with a promotion at work and genuine connections that don't require a wallet check. It's funny how revenge, when served cold and calculated, can double as therapy. But I don't revel in her downfall, not entirely. Part of me hopes she learned from it, maybe toned down the entitlement and started valuing people over possessions. Life's too short for superficial ties. I'd rather have a handful of true friends over coffee than a crowd at a lavish bash funded by obligation. Reflecting deeper, this experience reshaped my view on materialism in our hyper-connected world. Social media bombards us with must-haves and dream lives, breeding envy and expectations that poison real interactions. Sarah fell into that trap, turning her birthday into a status symbol rather than a celebration of life. It made me grateful for my modest roots. Growing up without excess taught me contentment in simplicity. Now when I see influencers flaunting hauls or friends hinting at gifts, I pause and assess, is this genuine or another transaction? The lesson is clear, don't let anyone commodify your worth. Stand up, speak out, and if needed, walk away. It's empowering to realize you can rewrite your story, turning betrayal into a badge of resilience. In the end, this wasn't just revenge, it was reclamation. I took back my agency, my voice, and my peace. If you're listening and dealing with an entitled person in your life, whether a friend, boss, or relative, remember, you don't owe anyone your presence at the cost of your dignity. Set those boundaries early, and if they cross them, don't hesitate to protect yourself. True friendships uplift, they don't demand dues. And as for Sarah? Wherever she is now, I wish her well, from a distance. Life moves on, richer without the baggage. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride, everyone. If you've got your own stories of entitlement gone wrong, drop them in the comments. Until next time, stay true to yourself.